I know that this is a real estate podcast, but it is very important. You can integrate energy in with clients, your team, which is the topic for today, and building what it is that you want to create.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to In the House podcast. I'm Toni Singh.
Good morning, guys. I'm Jenny Woon.
And we have an exciting topic today. Yes. And we want to say wherever you're listening from, we say hello. Our topic today is the 5 non-negotiables to setting up your dream team.
Ooh.
Yay. Exciting.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, hola.
So one of the most prized milestones in a real estate career is establishing a lucrative real estate team structure and growing your team. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when you start in real estate, you can create a plan with set goals. Mm-hmm. This real estate plan...
There's these checkpoints, right?
Yes, absolutely. And those checkpoints help keep your business on track, and they're a great way to measure your success.
So these checkpoints, though, comes at a cost if you don't do it right.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it alone, there's guaranteed this burnout you're going to...
You're speaking to me, Jenny.
Yeah, you're living it. You're living it. Yeah. You can't advance this business alone. And I feel like a lot of agents like you and I've done it before, and I feel like sometimes I still do it because I know I can let go of some other tasks.
We all still do it sometimes, but I think you and I are aware...
We constantly talk about this.
We do. But I think it's also our personality styles. So you're 100% right. Mm-hmm. In order to succeed at a very high level whilst not burning out and living life, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. It's very important to set up a dream team. It can't be done alone if you're wanting balance or anything outside of real estate.
So first off, when do you know and when should you consider building a real estate team before it's too late, before you are entirely feeling resentful and you don't want to get out of bed and you have so many tasks, but you don't know where to start? One of the things is you have enough volume to know that you can't bring on more clients.
Yeah, I mean, and also not just bringing on more clients, can you support them properly, right? Because you can still bring on new clients, but if the level of care is not going to be there, then it's not going to be successful.
Yeah, and it could be costly to you, to your business, and to clients as well.
Of course.
Because things drop off. Also, being able to be consistent in the flow of, as you were mentioning, and you touched it, is the journey, that experience that the client is, once they're on board to working with you, are they feeling like they're not getting the attention they need?
Yeah, because it's not just the sale. It's supporting them every step of the way, right? And if you have more clients than your current team can support, things can get missed. Mm-hmm.
So this episode, we want to talk about not just like how to hire a sales team. We've had past episodes about it, but these are some of the things that we lightly have touched on in the past, but these to me are non-negotiables to build this team. Mm-hmm. One of the things to start off is energy.
Yeah, 100% energy.
So we talked about that quite often, is when you notice someone shows up with the same vibe as you, as the same enthusiasm and excitement about their job, it's typically kind of related to their work ethic in a way. And it's their why. Like, they have to understand what their contribution is into the business.
Yes.
So do you find that you are in tune, or you can catch on really quickly when something's off?
Right away.
And how?
It was, I couldn't always do it, but I think developing that skill, yeah. Even with clients, if I'm not with them now, this is going to sound out there, but this is the truth. I can tell how they're feeling during a transaction and when I need to place the call. So I don't even need to be in your presence in order to feel the energy. Which is why I think a lot of my clients have said, how did you know I was feeling this way and now I'm just feeling so much better. But yeah, there's the energy works in different ways. So yes, energy of alignment with the team, but also checking in with people and being supportive.
Secondly is mindset.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important things to succeed in life.
You can either have a fixed mindset where you're constantly in this
You're limited.
Yeah, you're limiting yourself and your beliefs and your ability to grow, versus having a growth mindset is there's endless possibilities of opportunities where the person is coachable.
Yeah.
And they're willing to take accountability if there's success or if there's wins or if there's losses.
That's right. So just expansion overall, right? And if you're only living in a world of possibility for, let's say that possibility is, my goal this year as a new agent is 12 deals or whatever it is. But if you're always living in what's possible and seeing the growth, there's no limitations on what can be achieved. It's a completely different energy than, I'm down on myself, I can only do this. And that's also a victim mentality. So I think that what you had said is really important.
Going back to energy, I'm glad you mentioned that again. Remember how you took the photos with Hello Aura photo?
Yeah,
so I want to thank you for that.
Did you go?
Because we actually went, I actually set it up with my entire team.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience. We did it prior to our Christmas dinner.
So cool.
And everybody's energy levels, it was funny. The salespeople me and Dom, Andrew and Sam, we were like more like blue-ish violet colors.
Yeah.
And Miranda was totally like green and pinkish and fuchsia and orange.
Beautiful.
Totally like her vibe.
So it was accurate for all of your team members?
Yes,
much?
I wanted to bring the little card just to describe each colors. But for those listeners, if you go on helloauraphoto.com, what she does is you're in front of this screen and you hold this, or you place your hands on this metal.
It's a metal plate, but it's based on Kirlian photography, which has been around for a really long time.
Right. And so she's one of the owners of 2 in Canada. So she bought it from the States. So we go to her studio and it literally takes like 2 seconds to take the photo. But she sits down with you afterwards for about 15 to 20 minutes and talks about the colors that show up around your body. Yeah. Like your right side, your left side, your heart chakra, and above your head.
It's crazy.
And Samantha was more greenish tones. So it was really cool to see. Like our different colors and the colors, description of the colors match their personalities too. So that was awesome.
Well, and I know probably a lot of you know this, but Nikola Tesla said everything is energy. And so we're digressing a bit, but we'll bring it back on track. If everything is energy, even things like there have been people that say that things like disease start from when the energy gets clogged up. Right. And it can't go anywhere. So the energy, I know that this is a real estate podcast, but it is very important. You can integrate energy in with clients, your team, which is the topic for today, and building what it is that you want to create.
So that I just want to mention that because I felt like with every one of these non-negotiables, I actually have an example for them. So you know me, like I have to give takeaways. Like,
so what's the example for mindset?
Mindset, okay, is the book that I've read is Can't Hurt Me.
I've heard of this book. I have not read this book.
Yes. So he is this warrior. He came from a lot of darkness, a lot of abuse in his life, overweight, and he just changed it with an obsession to be great, to be in this discomfort zone.
Okay.
And he believes in mental toughness is a lifestyle.
It is. And you can get off track. You have to bring it back on track as soon as possible.
Yeah. So that's just for mindset. If you guys are looking for something, some inspiration on just trekking away, and you're feeling like you're just treading, and you're feeling like you're on the Peloton machine and it's just going, but there's like nowhere to go, pick up this book and it'll change your mindset.
I'll add it to my list. I've got a bunch I need to finish first.
Okay. Third,
culture.
Yeah, so important.
I would like you to elaborate on this one a little bit more.
Okay, so the best way to really identify your culture is what really makes your team like unique. What's their personality as a whole? And so there are the thing is that culture can be written or unwritten, and it's a guideline or a set of values that your team would follow. Okay, and whether they are, it can be something simple like how they dress coming into work, or how they're collaborating. Are they collaborating together, or are they working alone? It can also mean, are most of your meetings like FaceTiming, or are they more maybe in person in a boardroom? So how is the environment set? It could be something even like, how do you celebrate birthdays with each other?
For sure. It also, on the more negative spectrum, could be somebody that has a huge ego. That's not really consistent with developing a good company culture.
Can you expand? Expand on that?
Yes, I will. So, for example, for me personally, I would not want to bring somebody on the team that is motivated and or makes decisions from their ego. And what I mean by that is somebody that I associate ego with a lot of insecurities. We all have egos, but I notice that when decisions are made from the ego about, how I'm going to look to people, how this will affect me, you're not able to be client oriented and focused because you're only thinking about yourself. And for me, my wish for my team is that it's always about the client. So if somebody's only thinking about themselves, that doesn't fit well with the culture.
So leadership style basically has a really good participation in how the culture is established. And I want to bring up Simon Sinek, which I follow him on YouTube. I follow him on the podcast and read his books, Leaders Eat Last by him. He's that's probably one of my favorite books. Is he talks about the golden circle theory, where you want a leader who inspires cooperation and someone who you can trust and change the business based on the why, not the what, not the making of the money. It's the purpose and belief that makes your company exist and what drives it to succeed. And so one of his theories and leadership styles is always looking at from the bottom to out, rather than from the top.
So like a strong foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. That the foundation are your peers and your colleagues and your employees that are basically running the business.
Yeah, 100%. I like the name Golden Circle Theory.
Yes, that's a great book. You guys should pick it up.
Another core component is values. The culture should be based on core values. So things like integrity for one another, what is the right thing to do, respect, of course, treating your colleagues the way that you would want to be treated from a place of love, honoring the differences that you might have between one another, and still being respectful and supportive.
Responsibilities, like being accountable to wanting to participate, wanting to contribute to something that's greater than you, and embracing opportunities that come into being able to help the business expand. One of the biggest things is team players, being a team player and teamwork as in sportsmanship. And obviously money and fees and a lot of things, competition kind of brings out the worst and the best in us, but you want to be able to encourage others to participate. And so when you're in a collaborative environment, think about that dream team you're trying to build, you want everybody to lift each other up. You want to, when maybe you didn't have the win, but somebody else alongside you has the win, you want to be able to celebrate with them because they were there for you too.
I'm glad that you said that. And I just wanted to add one thing onto that. Remember how we just talked about ego? Mm-hmm. If you have a team member that's not the right person and they're coming from the place of ego, that value that you just explained, which is also important to me, cannot be supported in the same way.
Makes sense.
So that's why all of these things are integrated together for the 5 non-negotiables to setting up your dream team. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Finally, for one of the values is service. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've learned over and over the years through all the coaching sessions that I've signed up for is serving for the common good. And you want to have somebody that's selfless. You want to, how are you going to be of service to somebody?
Yeah.
And how are you going to be part of this community for the betterment of everyone?
I think miracles actually come from that place. Have you ever experienced that?
No.
Yeah.
I want you to expand on that because I felt enlightened when you said that.
Okay. Well, how deep do you want me to go? I don't know how deep to go on this. Okay. So I am going to share something from the heart right now. I'm not actually incredibly comfortable doing it, but it's very personal. So, over the course of the last couple of weeks, my dad has been in the hospital. There were a few, and I never grew up with religion or anything like that, okay? So I don't have a faith. Mm-hmm. I do think that there's something that exists, of course, but I never grew up with a faith. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that my family and I are very close. And when I said that in service, miracles happen, I'm going to give an example of what happened this past week. So last week, I felt my dad leaving. Nobody's allowed. So in certain parts of the hospital, you're allowed in. When they're in ICU or anything like that, you're not allowed in the actual room. Mm-hmm. And different hospitals have different rules. But I felt, not being with him physically, that he was leaving. And obviously, I didn't want that to happen. And the doctors were calling me saying that he's going to go. And I'm like, okay, well, I hope that doesn't happen. He ended up slowly over the course of the week improving a little bit. But then on the Friday that just passed, I had this immediate feeling, so we're talking about energy here too, right? Mm-hmm. That he was going to leave. So I had never done this before. I went directly into meditation because I wasn't allowed in the room or anything at the time. And it was of immediate want and need that I needed to be there in the room with him, energetically. So I sent the energy there. I know it sounds crazy, but this is literally what happened. And when I got to the room in the meditation, the whole room was filled with golden light. The feeling was calm, peaceful, and of a place of love. And when I looked at the bed, there were, I might cry, and I'm not a crier, there were 3 golden light beings surrounding the bed.
Is it okay that I cry?
Of course. Again, so we might not keep this in here. We'll see. But when I saw them, I'm not someone that has come from a faith. I saw them there and they were tall, golden, dressed in robes, and they had golden orbs around their heads. And at the time, I didn't know if they were there to take him or to protect him. Mm-hmm. I'm not somebody that is specifically spiritual. I mean, I've been developing that over the last few years. And again, I'm not someone that has grown up with a faith. So from inside, it just came out. I said, "It is my express wish that you choose to stay here with us a while longer. And I understand if along this soul journey that you're about to go to, because he was not there for a bit, if you decide not to come back, I will accept it. So I knew that he couldn't make the decision for me. This was the lowest point that I have had. And then I joined around the bed. I sent him positive healing energy, had no idea how to do it. And then I went out of the meditation and I was crying. And the reason why this is relevant is because at that point I had let go. It was literally really hanging in the balance and I could feel it. And I knew that the path he could only do was his own. But the reason why, if something comes from service, which it had nothing to do with me, I was willing to let him go if that's what he wanted to do. A miracle happened. He did start to improve over the course of the weekend. And I felt in my heart that things are going to work out. So you have to go into the parallel there a little bit. But when you had said an important value is selfless service, or it can't be about you, it has to be what's best for the person, I think miracles can happen. Same thing with clients, same thing with team members. When you allow them to fly and you put your trust in them and it's like, this is only about you and how I can support you, miracles happen. So I hope that explains it. I know we digressed a bit and that went kind of deep because I'd never had that happen before.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. The last one, the last core value. Did you want to say something? You're very quiet right now.
This is really hard to continue with this topic when your dad's healing.
Okay. Yeah. And it's okay, because that was the interesting thing about letting go. It was my darkest hour. I don't cry, pretty much never cry. And that day was a terrible day. I kept doing it, but it's because I actually felt him leaving. And it was almost like he was gone and then he was back. And I asked an energy healing friend about what I had seen because I thought I was going crazy. It turns out my husband David said, "Hey, Tone, can you describe what you saw around your dad's bed again?" And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Funny story. About 6 months ago, I was on YouTube, and for some reason, it came up near-death experiences."
Oh, wow.
And my husband also is not spiritual, really.
Yeah.
And he said, when I looked at the comments, the exact same things that you described were described by all of these people who have had near-death experiences. Wow. I couldn't have made it up. That was my experience that I shared with my husband. He never told me about the video that he had seen.
Right.
And he had said that, I know that we're talking about life stuff here, guys, but you might find it interesting. Maybe it'll touch you in a certain way. In one of the comments that stuck out to him, there was a dad with a 10-year-old daughter who was really sick. And he thought that on the worst night she was going to die. He stayed in her room with her, opened his eyes in the middle of the night to check that she was still with him. And when he opened his eyes, there was a golden light being there that I described as exactly the same. He got scared because he's like, why is this thing in my daughter's room?
Right.
So he closed his eyes and opened them again, but it was gone. The next morning, the daughter woke up and he said, "Did you see anything at the foot of your bed?" And she said, "I saw a golden light man," and she described it the same way that he had seen it.
Right.
And he said, "Did you feel scared?" And she said, "No, I felt peaceful, love, and calm." So I think that no matter what journey we're on, we're talking about 5 non-negotiables for setting up your dream team. And I think that if we're going really deep into life and anything philosophical, all of these things, like literally, I'm a true believer that you can have, do, or be anything that you want. The energy, your values, all of these things need to be aligned in order to create from a place of nothing.
Which we can wrap up with the last value.
Which is perfect. Alignment.
And it's really getting to spend time to know what your intentions are and keeping those opportunities magnified and magnetically together.
Yeah.
So that it feels natural, that it feels right.
Yeah, I think if you're making decisions from a place of alignment, it's always the right one. If it doesn't feel right, it's not in your highest and best good, nor for the team. So with that said, we got happy there for a bit. Let's close out.
Yeah, and one of the books I want to mention about alignment is Built to Last by Jim Collins. It was one of the books that we touched upon in my book club, and it's these concepts that top leaders, that managers and entrepreneurs have really built to master their organization. And so, these are the 5 must-haves to me on bringing on additional agents to your team that I feel would make it successful, besides the other things that you can teach them.
For sure.
But
anyhow, we hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. Reach out to us if you have any questions or if you have any ideas for topics that you want to hear about. We appreciate you all. And don't forget, you can find us on a whole bunch of social media.
I'll line it up here. Apple Podcast, Spotify. Apparently, we can only upload up to 10 minutes on IGTV now. So we encourage you to also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel, In the House Podcast. Thank you, guys. We hope that you really enjoyed this episode as much as we did.